Let's call the meeting of the Board of Public Works to order. Ms. Edwards, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Gregg?
Here.
Commissioner Lemon?
Here.
Mayor Donches?
Here.
And we have Alderman Dowd here. And missing is Commissioner Shea and Commissioner Speedia.
All right, well, the purpose of the meeting is to review the budget as presented by the director and all of the people working for Public Works, so let's proceed with that.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We do have one other piece of business that I was wondering if we could just take care of.
Wanna do that first?
If you don't mind.
I don't mind.
You all have a motion, so.
So the motion is expressed in this memo. Commissioner Gregg.
I move to approve the abolishment of one truck driver laborer position and create one mason position at Street Department.
Superintendent, would you like to speak to that?
Happy to. Thank you. John Ibarra, Superintendent of Streets. So we've been carrying some truck driver vacancies and have recently come to find we have somebody in the pipeline that's a true trades craftsman, mason, and we'd like to bring him on board. And by making this move, it doesn't hurt us on the driver end, but will help us on our projects throughout the city. We have the wading pool, Los Amigos Park, Jeff Moran Park. We have some big projects coming up, and this will really benefit the street department crew.
Discussion, questions?
Is there any difference in
Wages?
Yeah,
Yeah, the mason makes a little bit more money.
just a little bit?
Yep,
more?
yep. I don't have the dollar figure on hand, but
Sure, but there's,
yeah.
it's pretty commensurate.
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, so now we'll go to the budget.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Mayor. So we were given a directive from the mayor to bring our budget in at 3% with a 3% increase. You will see that we have not done that here, although we may have to, still have to. We're actually at 7%, and we wanted to go through this with you and get your input on and what your thoughts are. We likely would have to cut about one position for every percentage point that we, so to get down to 3%, we would probably have to cut close to 4 positions. Just to give you some sense of that, we do have vacant positions that we could eliminate, but obviously prefer not to do that. We are mostly, I'm going to just speak to the general fund first, and then we'll go into the enterprise funds. The enterprise funds are a little more difficult in terms of increases because a lot of it is permit driven. So we can't come in at 3% for the enterprise funds, but we'll cover those last. Some of the major increase drivers for the increases are the new unaffiliated grid that will be going into effect July 1. There are increases there that increase our budget fairly significantly. We have 2 parks employees budgeted. I don't think it's never been a secret that we're very low on parks employees, and we also have to start taking care of the riverfront, and that's going to be a big job as well. Striping, we've been underfunded in striping for many years, so we are finally trying to get caught up with that funding. So we've added the proper funding. We have gone well over on our salt and sand this year, so we have increased that a bit. We also are splitting the, right now, Lauren Byers is the Recreation and Communications Administrator. We're actually splitting that position, and Lauren is going to just do communications, and we are adding a recreation superintendent. That's not a huge hit to the budget, but that is a change, and we're just glad that Lauren will stay a little bit longer in the communications role. We also have parts increases as directed by our fleet superintendent, and then, of course, purchasing guidelines. One other thing before we dive into the budget and the superintendents tell you about some of the changes, I wanted to mention that we have expended our snow budget. and we are actually have used about half of what's in the trust fund, which is about $319,000. So we have about $69,000 installed left, and then we have about $39,000 in our snow budget, and then about $150,000 in the trust fund. So we are dangerously low. We have asked the Board of Aldermen for a supplemental appropriation of $500,000. It did have its first reading. There will be a public hearing on February 23rd on that, and then hopefully that will pass, and then we will, and then in early March, hopefully go back to the full board for approval. That's a little bit worrisome because we have quite a bit of time that we have to go through before we get to that point, but I just wanted to make you aware we've had more snow events than normal this year. There are a lot of small ones, so, and this hasn't happened in a very long time. But we just wanted to make you all aware of that. We're not ready to hit the panic button yet, but we're close. So, okay, with that, Mayor, with your permission, we'll start with administration and engineering, and Carolyn will go over that.
Carolyn O'Connor, Assistant Director, Finance and Administration. If you start on page 1 for the revenues, they're level funded for administration and engineering. Forward to page 6 for expenses. As the director pointed out, wages is an increase based on the contractual obligations. 51300 overtime. We have lowered that slightly, though we still are keeping it at 11,000, but we've been informed by the city engineer they anticipate night paving in the coming season, which involves the inspectors. Pretty much level funded. If you go down to 54, property services, buildings and ground maintenance, it relates to the expenses of maintaining the facility here with the HVAC system, pest control, fire alarm services. As you'll see in all departments, our 54600 line, vehicle repairs and maintenance has increases based on the increased cost of parts to maintain our fleet. 55 other services, an increase to other contracted services, which includes things related to our Denron Hall, who maintains our HVAC system. That's where our BPW minutes are transcribed, and other maintenance agreements related to this facility. And our computer software down at 71 equipment is the Cartograph, which is our work order system. OpenGov was bought out, it's now OpenGov, sorry. And a slight increase in that contract. Those are the increases for admin engineering. Any questions?
All right, so anybody who has questions, commissioners, you can just break me at any time, so.
Absolutely.
But do you have questions or comments regarding administration?
If you think of any, we can always go back.
Yeah, I mean, you're not, whenever you want to ask,
Yeah.
that's fine. All right, what's the next section?
We'll move on to the street department
Okay.
with Superintendent Ibarra.
Thank you, Director. On page 2 of 31, we show streets revenue. So that's the sales of vehicles and equipment, out-of-service equipment, stuff that goes to auction. Snow tows, that's carried through streets, and any miscellaneous small equipment. On page 9 of 31, see the changes in the wages and salaries. That is, as Carolyn had just spoke to, contractually obligated. Then moving down to property services, 54 and 141, water. That was adjusted based on usage and the purchasing guidelines. We lowered that 5,000. The next change, and the most significant one on the street department as far as operating, is adjusting our striping services, an increase of $200,000. We've had a shortfall every time we've gone out to bid. We've been significantly short and had to do multiple change orders to the contract. So this will just bring us up in line with what the bids are coming back at. Moving to other services.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you get a bid, or when you go out for bids, you say how many miles of road? or
Yep, how many feet?
How many feet?
So, stop bars, symbols, long lines. Yep. Thermoplast, if we put down plastic.
And how much under bid have you been?
I
Like,
don't want to tip my hand publicly, but,
Yeah.
you know, because it's a bid process.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
significantly.
okay,
Does that answer your questions?
yes.
Right.
What is the process of bidding now? Like, who actually does the bidding for you?
We put the RFP out in-house, so we earmark the vendors in the area, and we send out our spec sheet of what we have for lines, symbols, thermoplast, and then they'll reply with their bid.
Is that something you do, or who specifically?
It's generated in-house, and then our
The
contract
purchasing
services upstairs
manager,
will do that.
Amy Gerard puts it out for us.
Okay.
So we send it to her, and then she puts it out.
And there's one purchasing manager? Did you say?
Yes,
Okay, so it does it for all different departments and everything?
correct.
Okay.
Yes, and then- yes.
When we have a development comes in,
Mhm.
do we make the development pay for any of the lines that affect our streets? And if not,
After the city takes ownership of the street, I imagine we assume the striping of that. Yes.
so
Do we make
basically-
them? Through the paving program, we do have that striped through the contract. As far as private development, I think we just assume that, but I can't give you a clear answer on that. Maybe you could help.
No, if it's a private street, then we do, or private development, we do not. do
Even
this.
if we have to mark one of our streets because of the new street?
If it's accepted as a city street,
I'm
if we put an entrance...
I'm not
So
sure.
There's a new development on Tinker Road going in, and they're coming across, and they're tying into Tinker Road. And there may end up being stop signs, because it's,
Gotcha.
where they're interfacing right now is on a curve, which is ridiculous, but we'll see where the planning board goes.
good question.
Typically, the private development would put in whatever signage or striping they need, but we have worked with them before, especially in a situation like that, Alderman Dow, where it could create a safety issue. You know, we certainly would work with them.
Thank you. Moving on to other services, other contracted services. There was a $10,000 adjustment. We reverted back and maintained that level funded. I just addressed it in case you see that change reflected in your proposed budget. The next significant jump would be in supplies and materials. That's our salt. We raised that from $545,000 to $600,000. These small events have been hard to keep salt in the barn. Back in '20, we were paying $49.50 a ton, and it's now $79.79 a ton. So that puts us at basically a 2,500 ton shortfall just on the numbers alone, never mind the amount of events that we've had. So we found it prudent to raise that number. Same with the sand. We went from 16,000 to 20. Just helps us put more mix together. Traffic signal materials, that went up $10,000. That's line 61556. That went from 26.5 to 36.5. That is for preemption and system upgrades. We're maintaining the new AI system for fire, so we wanted more money in that line. The next change would be 71 equipment. That's 71,000. That went from $5,000 to $10,500. We added monies for traffic and an additional $2,500 to streets. This just helps with miscellaneous small equipment throughout the season. And that summarizes the streets changes, and I'm happy to answer any other questions.
How, knowing that the, I'm sorry, did you, just knowing that you kind of gave the mention of like, we need to get it to 3% increase, how do you want us to interact at this point with what we're seeing now? Because obviously we're not, we're at 7% now overall.
Right.
And then we've got kind of this edict to figure it out, like to get it to 3%. Is this more just like line item by line item? We're kind of just chiming in, or?
Well, I don't know, the mayor hasn't like given us like a strict directive.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
So I'm hopeful that,
This is what,
Is it
you know,
justification?
yes, this is a justification
Yeah.
committee. Now, in terms of the overall, I mean, when the budget team looks at every department, including Public Works, I mean, we're sort of looking at the whole budget, like how much is this going to drive taxes up? And what should we cut, or should we cut nothing, or in terms of the overall picture? So Lisa, Director Photo, has said they didn't make the 3%. That's pretty obvious. So I would, if I were you, I would just go on what you think the department needs, and then when I get to the final budget, I'll have to decide what we can really afford.
Okay, so just give notes on things that we hear and say.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, if you think something should be
yeah, if you
added or cut,
have any ideas.
so, weigh in. Hopefully cut, but
Not more of? Yeah.
Yeah, I always wish that we'd have that budget where we'd actually have like a 10% increase, and but that's never happened since I've been here. So, but it is after, one other thing that I should just mention with it, to the mayor's point, is that once the board approves, say the board approves this budget tonight, the mayor has of course, the right to make additional cuts or changes as he sees fit. So, and that's the case every year.
in submitting the final budget. And once the budget is submitted, the Board of Aldermen can, Alderman Dowd as head of the Budget Committee, can cut the budget as they see fit with 8 votes, but to add to line items that actually requires 10. And this is pursuant to, the provisions of the city charter. Alderman Dowd.
A couple of things, how many people follow the Union League, but it seems like every town and city that I've seen and they're doing their budgets right now, way, way higher than what we're looking at. And a lot of it's driven by the state and pushing everything down on the cities and towns. I don't want to get into that, but
I mean, there are
the other thing
Go
that Manchester's doing is they're giving their Board of Aldermen 3 numbers. One, how do they meet, say, the 3%? Next number is keeping everything the same, not adding anything, and what that number is. And then their actual, what they want for a budget. I know the one thing that everybody's going to ask for, what are you adding to your budget? That's the first question that comes up every time it comes to budget.
Right.
Can I then ask for when we hear the presentations from everyone, can we also hear what we're not doing from last year? Just so that I kind of have an understanding of like what the thought was around what was cut?
We really didn't cut anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
And maybe that's the answer.
yeah,
Okay.
and the reason for that is that, we've cut for so many years, over the years, that there's, unless we're at a point where we need to cut positions, because we would impact services if we cut anything else.
Okay.
So, yeah, so we haven't done that yet, but to your point, Commissioner Gregg, if we have to, that's what we'll do.
Then maybe can we, because it's difficult for me to look at the number and say like we shouldn't spend like $600,000 on sand or salt. So is it possible to then say like one thing maybe or 2 things that we don't have to do? And if the answer is we have to do everything, then that's fine. But I feel like I'm just trying to get a sense for like what can we look at that we can maybe like take a little bit closer like view of to understand if we can get it anywhere down to closer to the number you're looking for?
Positions.
And that is it, okay.
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, we can't cut most of our items are just like really basic, pool chemicals or wastewater treatment chemicals or salt and sand and, things that, diesel fuel, things that we can't operate without. So there's really not a lot of fluff in this, in the
And
budget.
there's not like updates to buildings or
No.
materials or, okay, so none of that in terms of what we're thinking this year. This is basically a maintenance budget.
Correct.
We've been operating at a 3% increase for so many years that 3% doesn't even cover the raises or the added expenses for water, electricity, or, that type of stuff.
The biggest hit to our budget, and I'll maybe explain a little further, is the Personnel Committee did an analysis of the unaffiliated salaries and found that many were underpaid, if not most. So they proposed a new grid, and that grid was accepted by the Board of Aldermen, and that is a significant hit.
What do you think that adds with respect to the Public Works budget?
Almost all of it. May- 5 or 6%
Yeah.
is just the salaries.
Staff.
Just that.
Now, in terms of the overall city budget, I mean, the big drivers are these fixed costs that are going up very significantly. Healthcare is projected to go up 12%. That's $5 million. That's 2% on the tax rate, just for that one item. School busing is going up again. The delivery charges, which we pay Eversource, they're projecting, they're not sure yet, but 29%.
It's all over that.
Gas up 16, 17. So there's some fixed costs that are, rising much, much higher than the 3% or the rate of inflation.
As far as the DPW budget, you know what most aldermen hear? Why aren't we hiring more people to plow? This is one thing we can't find them to hire. But other than that, people complain about the budget being too high, but you want to add positions? What do you think drives the budget?
Yeah.
So they can't have it both ways.
I think from a public discourse, this conversation that we're having right now is really important to get out there. It's good that we're going over kind of the details and the numbers, but hearing this, I think when people say, why don't I get the services I want? And in the same token, they're like, why are my taxes going up? So it's good to get this stuff out there. So I appreciate the contributions.
Yeah, I think the more that we get some of these projected increases, individual, like you were just talking about, Mayor, out ahead of the budget season, so that people, will be coming in and wasting our time because asking questions they should already have the answers to.
Sorry to derail, but we can continue.
All right. That's good. Okay. Well, continue. I forget exactly where you
The
are.
next department is fleet.
So are there any other questions regarding the street department specifically?
I know this shows my level of ignorance, but I assume anything like salt, sand, if you, for some reason, if Dave Boucher has extra chemicals, they don't go bad. We get to keep them.
Yeah, we'll try and keep the barn as full as
That's why I
possible.
bought some
Yep.
extra salt, because it was at a better
Yep.
price. Okay. It's not like anything's going to waste.
Whatever we don't use is stockpiled.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, next is fleet.
Superintendent Rush.
Good afternoon, Superintendent Michael Rush. Starting on page 3, miscellaneous revenues. We were able to sell some lift equipment that we were no longer using and was at end of life. We were able to put it on the auction site for parts, so the money is reflected here on this line. Moving to page 12, salaries and wages. Most of this is contractual. You'll see on the overtime line that there's a slight increase there. We used a little bit more than we normally use on that line due to some empty positions that we had at the beginning of the year. We have filled some of those positions. We still have some positions that are empty. Fringe benefits, that's contractual. Line 54, property services, slight increase to the vehicle repairs and maintenance line. It was a little higher when I started, but when I did a fleet analysis, I decided that the age of the fleet, we're on kind of that upside of the newer equipment currently. So to try to help keep that lower, we only went up just a slight bit, so to try to help. Other services, that line is level funded in all lines. Page 13, supplies and materials. Slight increase to the fuel. This fluctuates year to year depending on our usage. If we have more storms like this year, more than normal, that number could go up or down. So it did go up a little bit on that line, but that does go out for bid. But if we have a good winter, fuel use will be lower, less vehicles on the road. Line 61799, vehicle parts and supplies, there is a slight increase there, but very, very marginal. Line 71, equipment. Line 71228, computer software. There is a slight increase just due to the amount of scan tools and our fleet software that we use. Software is pretty expensive, but there is some renewal contracts that come up every year, and that's reflecting that line there. And I am happy to answer any questions you have on the fleet budget.
The actual through in the computer software is 42,000 at this point?
It's actually lower than that. This, I think it was 40,000 is what it was for just the Fleetio software that we use that integrates all of our softwares together.
So does that require us to increase even the proposed that we have right now?
We have a 3-year agreement.
3-year agreement? Oh,
Yes.
I see. Okay. So it's
In some software will be dropping off that we have this year, we won't be renewing. for next year.
Correct.
Okay.
There is,
I see.
yeah, we kept our old software online for 1 year while we were transitioning everything to make sure we captured as much data as possible between the two systems. So that is actually going to drop off in the new budget cycle, so it won't be hitting that line.
Any other questions for Fleet? Why don't we move on to Parks? Superintendent Coe?
Good afternoon, everyone. Brian Conant, Superintendent of the Parks Department. On page 4, you'll see the department's revenues. It's stayed somewhat the same. Holman Stadium is down $30,000 in cell phone revenue. Mine Falls is roughly up $30,000. Looks like there's an increase of about $4,000. Be happy to answer any questions on the revenues if there are any.
Yeah, Maddie.
Why was Holman Stadium down? Revenue there for the...
The revenue there went from 183 to 153. Why? The cell phone is Bill Mansfield manages the
Cell
cell phone towers.
Cell tower agreements, just based on what the current agreements are.
Yeah.
We don't handle them specifically, so I could get some more detail for you. and
Yeah,
let you know.
it'd be nice to know, like,
Yeah.
I mean, is this driven just specifically by the folks that are saying, we're only going to pay you $150,000?
No, they're contracted, but it could have been one fell off on that particular tower. I'd have to get that
It'd be
information.
interesting to see why we lost
Yep.
revenue like that.
Mhm.
Turning over to page 15, you'll see an increase in wages. That's to account for 3 additional groundsmen, 2 that will be partially funded by the TIF funding. This is going to help us in the newly created Renaissance Park and, maintaining downtown Main Street.
Like, I just want to clarify,
Yep.
excuse me.
Go ahead.
I want to clarify that 2 groundsman ones are funded through the operating budget. 1 will be funded through the TIF.
Oh.
So there's only actually 2 in the operating
Question,
budget.
it's being funded by the TIF. Should it appear in the budget? Because that's from a separate source.
It does not show in our budget.
Okay, so
That's why I wanted to clarify that. There's only 2 showing in our operating budget, correct.
Can I ask a question about the revenue? you can rent Holman Stadium. Are people aware of that? Okay, so I assume the beer festival has a certain price, and
Correct.
so how the $2,000? How many is that? One event, 4 events, 10 events?
It would depend on the event,
Oh, okay.
the amount of time that was used, so there was.
Depending on what's going on, we charge, we'll make money on the 4th of July when we charge $300 per suite. For a night game, if you're outside, we'll charge $1,000 a game. That's what we charge the Silver Knights as well, $1,000 a home game. If you want to do a non-lighted game, it's $500, I believe. So those are the type of revenues that we would generate from there. So, welcome. All right, continuing. Overtime, we've asked for a $15,000 increase. With the addition to the other positions, we feel it necessary to go up with the overtime. An increase in temporary and seasonal wages. We would like to go, last year we were paying $17 an hour. We'd like to increase that to $20. It was hard to find help during the season. A lot of high school kids who, really don't do us any favor. That's what we're getting with the $17 an hour. They're here in the beginning of June. They're gone by the middle of August. So hopefully that'll help us attract some people that could stay with us a little bit longer. Going down to property services under 54. We're looking for an increase in the pool repairs and maintenance, going from $20,000 to $35,000, excuse me. Just this past year alone, we had the pumps at Rotary Pool go down, at Crown Hill Pool go down, which is why we've spent $34,000 and we've only got budgeted $20. So that's the explanation, and that's why we're going for the request. Building grounds and maintenance, we're looking for 8% increase, which is roughly about $25,000. This is to cover lighting repair. We've had some new lights go in throughout the city. We still have some aged lighting infrastructure, and we got some quotes to fix some of that this past fall, and several of them were around $15,000 to $18,000 per location. 54,600 vehicle repairs and maintenance. That's going to be moved to account 61799. Falling under 61, supplies and materials, line item 61114. We're asking to go from $5,000 to $15,000. This usually covers costs to maintain the pool facilities, from skimmers to toiletries, cleaning products, and several different chemicals that we use to maintain the pool chemistry, the water chemistry at the pools. 61705, tires. We're looking for a $4,000 increase, just increase in cost of materials. 61799, vehicle parts and supplies. We're moving to account 54,600. And those are all the proposed changes in the Parks Department. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
Yeah, really quickly, does the vehicle repairs and maintenance, does each department have their own separate line items for that versus fleet? Is that how it works?
So, Parks and Solid Waste, Michael Rush, Fleet Superintendent. Solid Waste, Wastewater, and Park Department have separate lines for their vehicle maintenance. The Street Department, their vehicle maintenance moved into the fleet budget when the departments were split off.
Gotcha. And do you collaborate on the budget?
Yes, I work with everybody on the vehicles and repairs line. Parks did go up slightly. They've been, in my opinion, kind of underfunded for quite a few years, where we've had to move funds from another line item or somewhere else in the budget line.
Okay. So this increase is really making up for a lot of the...
Correct. Yeah, just years of just kind of being level funded.
Okay. Great.
While we're on the pools, the Rotary Pool, I'm looking especially at Alderman Dowd right now. The Rotary Pool is close to failure. So that needs a $2 million rebuild. Now, that's not in this budget, but if that's going to be done, it should come through the capital, a bonded project. Pardon?
The ad hoc, I'll be at every one of those.
Yeah. anyway, I don't think we want that pool to fail, so that would be another embarrassment, or an embarrassment if that happens. So we'll be getting back to you more on that in the near future.
And right behind that is Centennial.
And right, but Centennial is not this year.
Right, it's not this year.
Maybe
I think
next
we had
year.
a discussion with Brian on those two pools quite a bit.
Yep, they need some upgrades.
All right, any other questions on parks? All right, next is
Move to recreation. Lauren?
recreation.
Lauren Byers, Communications and Recreation Administrator. There's no page number, it's the one after Brian, so it's after page 5. It's just the program fees, which have not changed. All of that remains the same. And then if we go to the page after Parks, which is at page...
19.
She doesn't have... I don't have that. So 19, is it 19?
They don't have
Okay. So there's minimal changes to the recreation. Most of them are contractual. The only changes would be, let's see, 51300 on the overtime. As our contractual obligations increase, we have to incrementally increase the overtime pay there for our employees. And the other one would be under 51400, wages temporary seasonal. I've asked for an additional $5,000 there so that we can pay a differential to our lifeguards on weekends so that we can keep the pools fully staffed. During the week, we're fine, just need a little extra help on the weekends getting them in there. And that's really the only two changes for the department. Any questions? No?
We also added an intern that will be servicing the downtown and will be helping businesses and directing residents and visitors and such, and doing some cleaning and just kind of and this is, and I worked with Director Hannum on this.
All right, what's next? Enterprise solid
Okay, the
waste?
next would, I think next is solid waste, yes. Thank you.
Jeff
Superintendent
LaFleur.
LaFleur.
Jeff LaFleur, Superintendent of Solid Waste. Page 19, our revenues, you're going to see one big change on 44514, refuse disposal fees. That's anticipating the new state mandated disposal fee. They're charging $3.50 a ton. They are supposed to reimburse us for most of that, so that we have that in there as our revenue coming back to the city. You'll see the other part in the appropriations. If we move over to page 21, appropriations, wages, full-time wages, you're going to see a slight increase there. I'm proposing to hire a solid waste technician for half the year. I have my full-time employee, he's going to be retiring in January, and this is a very specialized position that you need to know how to tune wells, repair wells, look at all the inspections and everything, and be able to fill out paperwork for permits and stuff. So that's an increase there. 51400, you're going to see an increase to the temporary wages. Same issue that the Parks Department is having. We're having a hard time getting employees to come on and stay from April to December to pick the yard waste season. I'm proposing to go up to $22 an hour. It doesn't mean I'm going to pay every one of them $22 an hour. It's just if they're going to commit to the whole season, we'll pay them that. So it could be a little bit less. We'll just try to justify it through that way. 53107, architects and engineering. You're going to see about a $60,000 increase there. That's for added groundwater monitoring, reporting, and dues due to the new regulations that the state just implemented. PFAS is still a nightmare for us, so we're having to do more and more testing. So you'll see that in there, and that also helps with the permit processing fees and everything that come with it. Another one would be the property services, 54600. That's just a small increase. That's just for parts, normal increase in parts. 61705, tires, same thing. Fleet maintenance or fleet guidance. 81 capital outlay and improvements. You'll see that in there. That's a $2 million request. It's $500,000 for my gas expansion that we have to do every year to help with the emissions. And then there's a $1.5 million access road maintenance and design. We're proposing to put in upgrade one of our access roads for fire trucks, for all our trash trucks to get out back instead of having to drive all the way around and go through the landfill and actually over trash. This will be a paved road that'll get us access to both areas. Other than that, that's my major changes. Any questions?
No, it's not a, sorry, I'm sitting on my mouth open. So this is one of the, kind of the things I want to point out in terms of, I think it relates back to my question before, or more of like the, have we thought really much about like, really much about like, how can we get it to the 3%? That's the kind of the ask. And again, I know it's a bigger budget, and I know, in terms of the city. So this is one of the, I think what you were just talking about last is one of those things. It's like, does that need to be done this year? I can't answer that question, and the answer might be yes, and that can be something that could be, gone through. But I'm just looking at, when I think of maintenance, I think of like we're just maintaining the status quo as is, versus all of the things that should have been done 25 years ago, but still we can maintain the status quo for 26. So if those questions are being answered and we're coming into this meeting with those answers, I think that's totally fine.
Sure, and I can explain.
For that one particular one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So we had tried to, or not we, the chief, Chief Buxton wanted to have an access through Teak. And the residents really came out against that. So we now are only going to put in a water line, and it's actually not through Teak, it's through Gendron, and which is okay. But now the fire trucks will have no choice but to come through the landfill. So they would not be able to get around. It's quite a over the river and through the woods ride to get out there. So this would give them direct access out up over the closed landfill. The other thing is, it's also a problem for our trash trucks because they have to go so far around too. It takes them a long time to get out there that way. It's really, I can take you out there if you'd like to see it sometime, but it's quite a long ways out there. So this would give them much easier access, and so that they can get back out of the road.
Just to add to that, this access road will also give emergency vehicles another access point for fires or any emergencies out in the new landfill, the new Phase 4 landfill, because it's going right up on top. And then once we build up the trash in Phase 4, this will be an access for us to bring trash directly into the landfill. We won't have to go all the way around the whole landfill to get in to drop trash. We'll be able to go right up and in and right into the cell.
So this is really preparatory for Phase 4.
Absolutely.
And we need this for.
We're going to need this for Phase 4 eventually. And again, I was here for a landfill fire 20 years ago, and fire trucks couldn't get there. So, it's a complete nightmare. We want to have access so they can get right to the site and help put fires out. God forbid we have a fire.
Yeah, landfill fires and air quality in cities is not a great feature. So.
Exactly.
So I would present it as you're going through the budget as a safety and a cost savings, because your trucks don't have to go as far, you're gonna save money on fuel. And from a safety standpoint, you don't want a landfill on fire and can't get trucks there quickly.
Right.
Because every minute you can't get there is significant as far as a fire.
It sure is.
Anything else? All right.
We appreciate the questions.
Next, we have wastewater, right?
Yes. Last but not least.
Thank you. David
Superintendent
Boucher.
Boucher.
Thank you, Director. David Boucher, Superintendent of Wastewater. Revenues on page 25, under Section 43, State aid reimbursement, there's an adjustment there. This is based off of a percentage of eligible closed projects. Under section 44, the sewer user charges, there's an adjustment based, it's a rate adjustment based on the approved rates, the rate increases. Under section 45, under Hudson capital contributions, this adjustment is based off of a percentage of eligible capital projects, plant projects. It would be Hudson's contribution because we do receive Hudson's flow. And under 48, the general obligation bond proceeds. This is also based off capital projects, the capital project schedule. That's it for revenues. And the appropriations detailed, page 27. In the section 51, the wages, full-time and overtime, these are due to contractual obligations, as well as the fringe benefits section, 52. Moving down to section 53, architects and engineers services. These are services we use. We just received a new permit for discharge into the Merrimack River. This is to help us with assistance and anything we need for dealing with regulations. And under section 54, property services, we have adjustments under the water based off projected rate increases and historical usage. Disposal services under 54. This is for the management of our biosolids that we produce at the wastewater plant. We hire a company to manage the disposal of our waste solids, and their rates are increasing. Page 28, under section 54, we also have an increased vehicle repairs and maintenance, working with fleet. These are adjustments due to part cost increase. Under other services, 55, the telephone voice and telephone cellular section. There were adjustments here, lowered based off of historical usage. Also, we had an upgrade to all our pump stations, and we moved to fiber optics. So there was a decrease in cellular service there. Moving down to postage and delivery, there was an adjustment there, looking at historical data and charges. This is for billings of the sewer rates. Page 29, in the section 61, we have an increase in the laboratory supplies. This is also based off our new permit, which started this month. It requires us to do additional samplings throughout the years. And also miscellaneous supplies. This is due to cost increases of materials. And then there's some adjustments that were made under section 71, debt services, under principal and interest. And then also under section 81, infrastructure improvements. This is also based off of the capital improvement projects, which is located in the back of your packet. I believe that's it. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anything? All right, what do we have next?
We just have a quick non-public.
A non-public? We'll do, what about the
Special revenues?
project schedule? I don't know, anything, can we quickly go through those items that,
I do have a general question.
yeah, okay. We'll ask the general question then.
How are we tracking? Like, I can see the actuals, but I can't add them up. So how are we tracking overall for 2026?
Aside from snow,
I mean,
we're
yeah,
tracking
snow. Snow where we can't actually put
Yes,
it anywhere.
yeah. Other than that, we're tracking fairly
Tracking
well.
pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Parks is struggling, as they usually do, towards the end of the year, but no, we're tracking okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
All right. Well, the procedure is to approve the budget or change it.
Now, if we approve it and the aldermen come back and say it's got to be 4%, we have to come back after you go through and try to come up with a, no?
What I would let you know
Yeah.
if we made changes to it. But at this point, it'll probably be a while before the mayor's make some decisions on.
Well, I know the budget.
So the aldermen have line item control, so what they were they to do anything with this, they probably would cut specific line items, and that would be it. It wouldn't really come back, it wouldn't come back to you. Now, if they said, now, this hasn't happened before, but if they said, you know, hey, you've got to cut this 3%, but we don't know what to do, so you do it, you know, that could happen. It's within the realm of possibility, but that hasn't occurred before. Fair to say?
We've had increases in the budget more than decreases.
Yes. Yes, that is true. I'm not sure there's ever been a bottom line decrease to my budget, has there? No. Usually
Not
it's
in the last 16 years.
not- usually it's an ad. But, you know, I could cut items out of this before I propose it to the alderman. But again, that sort of depends on the overall picture. And then they could add to
What
it.
the state does to us.
Pardon?
Also depends what the state does to us
Yeah.
between now and budget.
I don't think the state will be granting us large sums of money. I mean, I know it's within the realm of possibility, but I don't think
No, it's not within the realm of possibility. That's not within the realm of possibility. So is there a motion to change the budget or to pass it?
I motion to pass the budget.
I second it.
All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, and the budget is proposed as presented.
One additional thing, I don't know if you did it or they did it at City Hall, but when we get a list of the DPW employees, years past that have been split up by it's 20% for engineering, 30%, we don't want to see it that way. We want to see city's engineer and his total salary
Okay.
and benefits. So,
Okay.
In the future for budget meetings, is it possible, and I might be reading, no, I'm not reading this wrong. From a budget perspective, it would be good to understand what we plan to translate that into. Like, what are we doing with this money? Like, so we're paving 50 streets, where I'm making this up. I don't know what it is, but like this is, with all the budget stuff that we do, we frame it in the context of the work that's actually being given to the city of Nashua, because I think that would help me to really know whether or not I truly understand what these line items do,
Okay.
at least from a
So you're saying indicate what the results of this expenditure might be.
yeah, and maybe tie those expenditures together to say like, and we don't have to get that detailed, but it's basically like paving 50 roads, fixing 30 sidewalks, that type of stuff. Like, I think that would be a lot more of a tangible thing for me to say that makes a little bit more sense as it relates to that. And it doesn't have to be like really in-depth. It's not like, okay, well, you know, we don't have to get into the specific details. It's more like this is what the city's getting for all of us.
just out of
Okay.
curiosity, if you kept things, everything you're doing now, without change, but reflect the increase in costs, what's that percentage?
If we, say that again,
You're doing everything you did in '25,
level
not
funded?
adding anything, but except the expense.
He's saying, let's say there were no extra Parks Department employees. You were just kind of a total maintenance budget. What would that be?
It would, but you'd include the salary increases that have been approved?
But you have to do that, yeah.
Okay. It'd be roughly 5 or 6%.
So we're really just talking about
About
additional 1 to 2% for
1
any
to 2%.
additional things we want to.
Yep, correct.
All right, well, what else do we have? There's some non-public items?
Yeah, we have just a quick non-public.
Who's got the non-public motion? Anybody? Is it Commissioner
Do you have a
Lemon?
non-public motion? Okay.
Thank you all.
Oh, yeah, you just need to, thank you.
Do you have one?
Take care.
Awesome.
Everybody has those.
I know, but I need the motion.
Someone needs to make the motion.
What?
Does he have a number?
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
it.
You're saying like what? Oh, yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have you do it, Carolyn.
I have it
so I'm-
here.
Huh?
I have it here if you want me to motion to go into it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
do? Great.
Yeah, please do.
We'll have to just wait till everybody, I'm sorry, I have another
Is that an
meeting that
Apple
I have to
computer
run
you
to.
have there? Or is that's not a Dell or anything?
If I were
But
to
Car-
Dell, I would not be.
Carolyn's,
Like immediately if I'm walking around with Dell, it's like you're out.
We missed Alicia last night because we get in these 3-3 ties
Oh, really?
prolong the meeting.
Well,
Yeah.
text her. Tell how disappointed you are in her.
Is this still on the air, or is this off?
All right, so
Oh.
the motion is
On the air.
On the end.
Commissioner Gregg.
I move by roll call that the board go into non-public session pursuant to RSA 91-A:3 to be the hiring of any person as a public employee.
Please call the roll.
Oh, I guess that's me, sorry. Alderman Lemon? Oh, sorry, Commissioner
Alderman.
Lemon?
Oh, hey, congrats on the promotion.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's quite a promotion. Here,
Commissioner Gregg?
Yes.
It's a yes. It's a yes.
here, yes.
Mayor Donches?
Yes. All right, so we're going to go into non-public session. All right, we're back in public session. Commissioner Gregg.
Do we need to move by roll call to seal the minutes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I move by roll call to seal the minutes of the Board of Public Works Personnel non-public meeting of February 26th,
February 13th.
February 13th, yeah, 2026, until such time as the majority of the board votes that the purpose of the confidentiality would no longer be served.
All right, please call the roll.
Commissioner Gregg?
Yes.
Commissioner Lemon?
Yes.
Mayor Donches?
Yes. So that motion passes. I believe we've completed the business, so Commissioner Lemon, do you have a motion to
Yes.
adjourn?
I motion that the Board of Public Works adjourn.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Motion passes, and the meeting of the Board of Public Works is adjourned at about 2:04 PM.